All right, so for those of you who have been following along, you know the last few days I've been dropping some bombs. If you haven't watched those videos, go back and check those out. But right now, this video, I feel this is going to be beneficial for a lot of you because it's going to connect a lot of those dots. But even if you don't watch it, you want to be sure and stick around the end of this, because this is going to be a key for a lot of you. This is going to help you build self-confidence, build self-belief, and it's going to help you get whatever you want, right? So especially when it comes to the area of diet, nutrition, which we've been talking a whole lot about these last 50 days. It's like day 53. And so I just feel like for some of you guys, this is going to piece that together. And if you haven't already, when you get done watching this video, go check out those other videos, the last two before this one. So this is day 53, so it'd be day 51 and day 52. So what's up, guys? This is Chase with Energy to Conquer, and like I said, today is day 53 on my experimental journey to increasing my energy and my mental clarity and just my overall focus. And if you guys, you know, if you feel like you don't have enough energy, you just don't feel like you have as much energy as you should, or maybe you have too much energy and you don't know how to deal with it, like that's what this channel is about, is just helping you find some solutions, some real solutions, not temporary fixes to permanent problems. You know, this is real deal things that you can start doing today that you don't need to spend any money on. This is solutions to help you improve your energy. So if you feel that's something, you know, that you're looking for and that relates to you, be sure to subscribe to the channel. But look, guys, like I said, today this video is going to connect some dots, and it's going to help you build your self-esteem, your self-worth, your self-belief that you can do anything, right? That you can do the things that you set out to do. And it's going to just kind of set you on a path, right, to help you getting whatever it is you want in life. And this really applies to anything, but especially when it comes to, you know, fitness and diet and nutrition and kind of hitting some goals in those areas. This is the key. So be sure, you want to be sure to watch this, right? And here's the thing, guys, like the last couple of days I've been talking about you know, just kind of time management, and then that kind of led into the idea that, you know, time management is just kind of practice for goal setting. And yesterday I got into the topic of outcome goals versus process goals. And so like I said, if you haven't watched those videos, when you get done watching this one, go check out those videos. But look, guys, here's the thing, like the outcome goals. So as far as like dieting, the outcome goal would be, I want to lose 50 pounds or whatever it is, right? 25 pounds, or maybe it's 200 pounds, whatever, wherever you're at. So that's an outcome goal. Process goal is what you would do, what you need to do in order to achieve that outcome goal. And so where a lot of us get screwed up on this, because we're not really taught this stuff. You know, when we want to lose weight, using that as the example today, when we want to lose weight, you know, we're taught how to diet, we're taught how to do workouts, but we're not really taught about the mental side of this. And this is 100% a mental game, right? That, like, that right there is enough for some of you. Like you know, that's enough that's going to help you get what you want, because you've never been told that. And most people don't realize that, right? Because, you know, what do? You jump on a diet plan, you jump all into this diet plan. But how many of these people are talking about really mindset, really getting into the mindset? Because what got you in that situation is not being on that diet. It's the fact that your mindset was messed up, right? And that's kind of what got you to the place that you're in, to need to be on the diet in the first place, right? You need to correct your thinking, right? And that's the reason a lot of people who get on diets and they just kind of yo-yo diet, just back and forth most of their life, to be honest with you, that's why they're never fixing this up here, right? You got to fix your mindset and the way you think about food and the way you think about fitness, and you've got to change your relationship with how you view those things, right? And so, you know, when you get into the process goals of this, the process goals is what you need to do on a daily basis. And it's a muscle, and it's something you work at, right? And so if you want to lose, you know, 50 pounds, what do you need to realistically do that? Because a lot of times what we do is we say, oh, well, we kind of get real excited, I guess, and we want to lose 10 pounds and we want to do it in a week, right? And so what are we going to do? We're going to work out for 6 hours a day. Now maybe that's a stretch, but you know, it's not realistic. You haven't worked out in 5 years, but all of a sudden you're going to work out for 2 hours a day, you know, or you haven't never been successfully dieted, never been successfully able to stick to a diet more than a week, and all of a sudden you're going to jump to this ridiculously hard diet and you're going to stick to it for 2 months and hit your goal, right? Now, I'm not saying you can't do that, because whenever you build a level of disgust, like, you can do a lot of things and just you finally get to that breaking point where you're like, no more. Like, I'm sticking my flag in the ground, no more. But the problem is, most of us are not to that point. I mean, just to be honest with you guys, like, if you can get yourself to that point, that's great. But today is going to help you not need to get to that point and just realistically be able to change your situation, but also be able to build your self-confidence and your self-esteem and just that belief in yourself in the process of getting what you want here. So realistically, we need to set some process goals. So if you want to lose those 50 pounds and you've not worked out in 5 years, you've not really stuck to a diet, it's hard to jump into some of these fitness programs that's a one-size-fits-all. It's hard to jump into some of these diet programs, especially the crash diet programs, that's a one-size-fits-all. So how do you do this? It's almost setting you up to fail, because it's such a drastic shock to your system. You can't handle it, right? And if you want to increase your energy and you want to start working out, well, if you go out and work out an hour or two a day and you're already depleted your energy, like your energy is already depleted, it's just going to drive that down and you're going to end up crashing so hard that you're not going to be able to do it long enough to get the gains that you need to get you where you want to go. So the same thing can apply to energy, right? And so what I'm talking about here is starting where you're at and using process goals, being realistic, like objective reality, right? Being realistic, objective reality versus delusion. A lot of times I think we get caught in a lot of a delusion, and I guess we hear what we want to hear, think what we want to think, and I'm all for dreaming big and believing big and just kind of going for it. But sometimes, you know, we got to have that objective reality and say, you know, I've done this way 15 times and it's not working, so maybe we need to approach this differently. And so what I'm getting at here is, you know, if you want to lose 50 pounds, you're probably not going to get there, like I said, unless you're just completely sick and tired and just disgusted to a level that most people are not at. Like, unless you're at that level, you're probably not going to get there, because you're going to jump into a workout program that's going to be so drastic, and you're going to get onto a diet plan that's so drastic that at the end of about, I don't know, maybe 3 days, maybe 7 days, maybe 14 days, you're going to run out of willpower to get you through it, because it's going to be such a hard sacrifice and such a hard fight that you're going to need so much grit, determination that you probably didn't have when you started, because you wouldn't have been in that situation in the first place. And that's just honesty, right? So, and I'm in the boat too. Like, you know, this is stuff I've had to figure out the hard way that I'm sharing with you. So, you know, I'm like the anti-guru. I'm telling you all the things that I've had to figure out and fight with and struggle with many times over. Like, I'm probably a slower learner than most people. Like, sometimes it takes me just a couple 10 years longer than anyone else to figure things out, right? But anyways, guys, you got to start where you're at, right? And sometimes, you know, if you want to lose 50 pounds, the best place to start is a 30-minute walk a day. Like, set that as your process goal, right? And if you can walk every day for 30 minutes, you know, this week, what's going to happen is that's easy enough to do. It's probably not going to deplete your energy, but it gets you moving and it gets you started, right? And so you do that day one, you know, you do it, you feel good. Boom, day two, you do it, you feel good. Every time you do it and you stick to it, you're going to get a little bit of momentum, and you're going to have this energy gain, because you're going to feel like you accomplished something. You're going to feel good about yourself. You're going to start developing self-esteem, self-confidence, because you're actually doing the things that you said you was going to do, right? But you don't have this willpower because you're not going out there and killing yourself on a level 10, right? You're just going out there where you're at and maybe a level 2 or maybe a level 4, right? So you're not completely depleting yourself. You're starting where you're at. And some of you, it maybe, you know, you're going to be further past this. It just depends on where you're at. But I'm just using that as an example. So you got to gauge where you're at and just start where you're at. So the same thing with dieting, right? So maybe instead of starting just some crazy crash diet like keto or, you know, the Atkins diet or some of these other crazy diets, like, and I'm not saying these are crazy because they work, but they're temporary fixes to permanent problems that you've never dealt with and never fixed, right? And that's the reason you need to do a crash diet in the first place. But maybe instead of starting and restricting your carbs down to 25 carbs, right? Maybe it's a better place to start with this week. Just start adding a salad to 1 meal a day. Next week, adding a salad to 2 meals every day, right? And build that up. And then slowly start cutting back and modifying your diet, right? Start cutting out some processed foods. Maybe do a salad one day. 1 salad a day this week, 2 salads a day next week. The next week, start cutting out breads, right? Cut out breads or whatever it is that you have, whatever diet you're on, right? You know, you just got to modify it to whatever diet plan you want to be on. And you start creating something that's sustainable, but you're going to build momentum as you go. And your body's going to probably respond a little better as you start doing this. You're not going to have the initial weight loss, right? But also you're probably not going to plateau as quick as some of these other programs. So what happens, you start getting results real fast and you get this momentum going and you're like, yes, this is awesome. And then a month or 2 into it, your metabolic rate adjusts to the diet that you're on, if you stick to it that long, and you just kind of plateau, and then you kind of lose all your steam, lose all your momentum, lose all your hope, and you just get this defeated and you end up probably crashing your diet, right? And just whatever. So that's the process goal, right? And the same thing with the fitness. So I said starting with 30 minutes a day walking, you know, today or this week, and the same thing, just build that and just hit that target. Like it's you're exercising that goal setting muscle. And so, you know, we're going to walk a total, you know, what's that, half an hour for 7 days, right? So what's that? That's like 3.5 hours. So you're going to walk, your goal for the week is to walk. Maybe you're going to rest one day. So your goal for the week is to walk for 6 hours. That gives you an extra day, so if something comes up. And so you're working on that weekly goal, right? And so each day, you know what you got to do, that process goal, boom, boom, boom. And then, you know, as you hit those, you build the self-esteem, self-confidence. So you get those little wins, you get those little highs, you get that positive, I guess, emotions. And that kind of spirals your energy up because it makes you feel good about yourself. Whereas if you go do something really hard and then you fail at it on day 3 because you kind of don't have the willpower to push your way through it, it just kind of, that's going to create a negative emotion that's going to drive you down. And so whenever you start to do this, right, and you build that momentum, so this week's 30 minutes a day walking, next week you're going to bump that up to 45 minutes a day, you know, and maybe you need to stay there for a week. Then you're going to bump it up to like maybe you're going to do an hour a day, or maybe you're going to do maybe 2 30-minute walks a day, depending on what your schedule allows, right? But you do that long enough, and next thing you know, maybe you start to do a, you know, a light run walk, right? Just light, nothing hard. You know, maybe monitor your heart rate. The best way to do that is to monitor your heart rate, because again, you know, if you want to do a couch to 5K program, those are one size fits all. So depending on where you're at, that may be easy, or it may be extremely hard. It may be equivalent to climbing Mount Everest for you. So, but if you can manage your heart rate, you can manage your level of exertion. Basically, you would run till you hit a certain heart rate, whatever that target heart rate is. You know, you can start out low with something around 130, 140, depending on your age and where you're at. But, you know, that's something you want to check with a doctor, not me on. But, you know, and then just kind of let it drop back down to about 110, 120, and then just keep going back and forth. And you'll find when you start doing workouts like that, you're actually going to feel good when you get done. You're going to have more energy. You're going to look forward to the workouts because you're getting something out of them. You're not going and hitting it at a level 10. So those are process goals, right? and you just build upon those. Now, of course, if you're in a lot better fitness, you're not going to need that, right? But you can apply the same thing to anything in your life. You can apply it, you know, to your income. You know, you can apply it to just about anything you want, right? Maybe you want a, you know, a house, a new house. Maybe you want a new car, like whatever that is. Maybe you want to take this dream vacation. You've got to turn this into process goals. Like, that's the outcome goal, but you got to turn the process goal, the little things that you can do daily to create the wins, to create the momentum. And these are also going to help you stay on track to hit your weekly goals, like, because it gives you a way to track it. The biggest problem with outcome goals is we set this big goal and then we get lost because we have no way to track it, right? We have no way to, how do we stay on track? How do we just review it 5 times a day? Well, that still is not really helping us. This gives us a system and a plan, and this all comes back to creating a plan. Like, your process goals are your plan, and when you don't plan, you plan to fail. So by creating these process goals, you create this plan. And even if you need to adjust that plan, like, you still got a plan, and it gives you a track to run on daily. And guess what? If you fail one day on that process goal, you get a new opportunity to start it over tomorrow. And that's the key to everything. So what I said right there, if you fail today with a process goal, you get to start it over tomorrow, right? It's another attempt. If you fail that day, boom, start over again, and just focus on one day at a time. And that's the key to everything, and that's the whole point of this video. And if you take that back and listen to the last 2 videos, like, piece all this stuff together with time management, with the building that muscle, right, which is basically daily goal setting. And so I think that was day 51. Then day 52, today's 53. You're using process goals to get whatever you want. But look, guys, that's all I've got for you today. If you like this, if you got any value in this, just be sure to give it a like, give it the thumbs up, and leave me a comment. Let me know what you think. If you got anything you would like to add to that, if you think I'm completely full of it, leave me a comment, let me know. Guys, if you like this content, if you want more of it, be sure to subscribe, because there's a lot more coming. Where this came from, I've got a ton of stuff like this. Everything that's in this channel right now is just a little nodule, right? It's a little nodule on top of the iceberg. It's not even the tip of the iceberg, right? There's plenty more where this is coming from. But look, guys, if you want to hit your goals, if you want to build your self-confidence, if you want to build your self-worth, your self-belief, right? If you want to do this, you've got to get good at setting these little goals. So that way, when you say you're going to do something, you actually have a way to do it. Hold yourself accountable to do it. And it builds a muscle, because it's really a muscle. Because what happens is, when we don't do the things that we say we're going to do, we lose self-confidence, right? But when we honor the commitments that we make to ourselves, that's how we build self-esteem, self-confidence, self-worth. Like, that is the secret. You know, it's really not a secret, but nobody talks about it, right? Everybody gives you this big, long, complex system, whatever it is. But to build your self-esteem, self-worth, like your self-belief, you just have to honor the commitments that you make to yourself. Because the problem is, when you don't honor the commitments that you make to yourself, then you know subconsciously, like, when you say, I'm going to do this, your brain kind of says bullshit, right? Or when you tell someone you're going to do this, and like, you don't even believe it subconsciously, like deep down inside, you know, right? But when you start keeping these commitments, then when you know deep down that if you say you're going to do it, you're going to do it. But that's a muscle that you got to develop, and that's something that's not really being taught right now. So anyways, guys, that's all I got for you. Hope you guys get something from this. Like I said, if you find any value in it, be sure to give it a like. Hope you guys have a blessed day.